children, today we will study about the terminology used in heredity. So here you might have heard few words related to heredity. The first one is DNA, genes and chromosome. Chromosome, you have learned about this in your lower classes also in 8th standard, where you saw that chromosome are present in the nucleus. These are the thread-like structures and they thicken before cell division. So here I will tell, and these chromosomes are made up of DNA. Here I will show you a helical model of the DNA. This is how the DNA is there. It is called as the helix. So this is called as the helix. Helical model, twisted model. This was discovered by Watson and Crick. Watson and Crick. They were the scientists who discovered that DNA is in the form of a helix. Inside this, children, purines and pyrimidines are there. This way, they are attached to each other. These all details you will study in your further classes, but here you should know that purines and pyrimidines are there. Fine. So here the purines and pyrimidines are, you will see denoted with these symbols A, G, T, C. These are all bases. Another name is bases called as the purines and pyrimidines. Fine. But here we will have to keep in mind A will always combine with T and G will always combine with C. So here A is combining with T, G is combining with C, T will combine with A, C will combine with G. Their name is adenosine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. So this is their name. In short, we write it in the form of A, G, T, C. So these bases are present here in the DNA. Suppose here is A, so you know it is going to combine with T. After this, suppose there is C, it will combine with G. Fine. One more thing is there, when they are combining, A is always going to combine with double bond and C is always going to combine with triple bond. So here I will show you, when A is combining to T, they are going to combine in double bond and G and C will combine with triple bond. So just to have an idea of this. In this way, various A, G, T, C, in whatever manner they might be present here. A, C, G, T, suppose here T is coming, so it is going to combine with A. Suppose G is here, so it will combine with C. Suppose again T is here, so it will combine with A. Again, if suppose C is here, it is going to combine with G. So why I am telling you this again and again, that this is DNA structure and these are the bases arranged in it. But what about the gene now? So chromosome is made up of this DNA and this DNA, if some section I am telling you, suppose this much section is coding for certain trait. This is called as the gene. So again a small part of the DNA denoting certain trait is called as the gene. Fine. So now you know how these three are related: gene, DNA and chromosome. 30,000 DNAs are there in a chromosome and thousands of genes are there in a DNA. So now you know how this is the structure and how the bases are arranged in it. Purine will always combine with purine, pyrimidine will always combine with pyrimidine. So these A, T, G, C, T, A. Here one more thing, in place of thymine, when I talk about RNA, suppose I am telling you about RNA also, a little idea. So in place of thymine, there is uracil, denoted by U. So if in place of thymine you find U written over there, you will understand that it is not DNA, it is RNA. So only that much difference is there if we see bases and purines and pyrimidines in the RNA and DNA. This much is clear to you? So that much which I just told you about chromosome, genes and DNA, where they are located, which part is called as the gene, what is DNA and what is chromosome is now clear to you. After this I will tell you how this DNA strand is opening, how this opens. Suppose this is the structure of the DNA. Here children, one thing is there 3' and 5' and it is called, and here it will be 3', it will be 5'. So this is how they are coiled together. 5' end will be here, then the opposite to it will be the 3' end only. This always you will hear that DNA is opening in the form of a chain. Why we are saying so? Suppose this is now opening. This DNA has opened. These two has opened in this manner. So this is where the adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine are arranged and this DNA has opened, and here it is again closed and they are bonded together. This is what is the replication of DNA occurs. It is opening and then, so why it is opening? In case of heredity, when we are studying, one has to go as a parent, father's DNA, one strand will go and it will join with another DNA of the one strand of the mother. So they both will combine together and will get into the offspring. This is how the heredity or the traits are going. Now children, you have heard few more things about the alleles. One more term comes here into account, alleles. Okay, this is called as the alternate gene. Another name was alternate gene. Fine. So when suppose it is a father's DNA and another one is the mother's DNA. Here I am showing you this is the father's DNA, this is the mother's DNA. So some part of the DNA, there might be some part of the DNA which is responsible for giving the trait of hair, that is color of the hair. It is from the father, this much portion. So same this place, this loci or the locus again in the mother is also telling about the hair trait only. Maybe it is black, it is brown, that is different thing. But the trait is denoted on the DNA at a particular locus only. Locus means at a particular point only. So this point again you know A, G, T, C, those codes are there. So there are particular some codes which are denoting the particular trait. So now this trait of the hair and this trait of the hair in the father, in the mother will be called as the alleles. Okay, alternate gene. One gene of here, one gene of here, they are the alleles. Alternate genes. In an easier way, I would like to explain in one another just common way what allele is. You know this is, everyone must be knowing, it is an emoji. Fine. This is emoji. Now we have seen such kind of emojis. We have seen this emoji. We also see this emoji and many other. This emoji. No? So all these are emojis. But everyone is showing some different symbol or expression. So this is what allele is. Alternate genes. So this is how we can say. Now coming to our example, a trait is like the eye color, but it can be dark blue, brown, blue eyes, black, or any. So those are all the different alleles or the genes showing those things, and the single trait is the eye color. Now you know the trait, alleles, chromosome, genes, DNA, few of these terminology which are required for knowing the heredity.
Do you recognize this molecule? This is DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid. By the end of this video, you will be able to identify the key structural features of DNA, as well as describe the importance of those features for function. During this video, we will look at different representations of the DNA molecule to better view certain details, but all views represent this same structure. Inside the cell, you will most commonly find double-stranded DNA, in which two strands intertwine to form a double helix. The most common form of the DNA double helix, which is what we will discuss here, is also called B-form DNA. Now, let's move to a more simplified representation of DNA to discuss the details. We can unwind the double helix like this, so that we can see the chemical structure inside. Each strand is a polynucleotide, meaning the strand is made up of many individual units called nucleotides. A nucleotide has three components: the 5-carbon sugar, a phosphate group, and one of 4 possible nitrogenous bases: adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. The nitrogenous base is always attached at the 1' carbon of the sugar. If we count from there, we can see that there is a phosphate between the 5' carbon of one sugar and the 3' carbon of the neighboring sugar. The sugar is called deoxyribose because it is missing a hydroxyl group at the 2' carbon, which is present in ribose. Because of this, nucleotides in DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, are called deoxynucleotides. Nucleotides attach to each other in the DNA strand by phosphodiester bonds. The phosphate group of one nucleotide binds to the 3' oxygen of the neighboring nucleotide. Thus, we can see that the sugars and phosphate groups make up the DNA backbone. The carbon numbering is key to describing the directionality of the DNA strand, 5' to 3'. Looking within the sugars, there is an intrinsic orientation difference between the two strands. On the top strand, you can see that the 5' carbon of each sugar is on the left, and the 3' carbon is on the right. The opposite is true for the bottom strand. Reading left to right, that makes the top strand orientation 5' to 3', and the bottom strand orientation 3' to 5'. These strands are also sometimes called Watson and Crick. Keep in mind that this double-stranded DNA is still a double helix, and we have simplified the representation by flattening and unwinding the helix here to better see the atomic structure. Although the nucleotides come together through covalent bonds in the backbone, the two DNA strands interact through non-covalent hydrogen bonds between the bases. Each base forms multiple hydrogen bonds with its complementary base on the opposite strand. Bound together by hydrogen bonds, Each unit is called a base pair. The hydrogen bonding contributes to the specificity of base pairing. Thymine preferentially pairs with adenine through 2 hydrogen bonds, and cytosine preferentially pairs with guanine through 3 hydrogen bonds. Thymine and cytosine are called pyrimidines, characterized by their single ring structure, and adenine and guanine are called purines, which have double rings. The geometry of the AT or TA and GC or CG base pairs is the same, allowing for symmetry and base stacking in the helix. This mostly has to do with the distance between the backbones and the angles to which the base is attached to the backbone. Other base pairs, like GT for example, do not have the same geometry, cannot form strong hydrogen bonds, and disturb the helix. The double helix structure of DNA is highly regular. Each turn of the helix measures approximately 10 base pairs. In addition to the hydrogen bonding between the bases, the stacking of the bases also stabilizes the double helix structure. These pi-pi interactions form when the aromatic rings of the bases stack next to each other and share electron probabilities. The regularity of the helical structure forms 2 repeating and alternating spaces called the major and minor grooves. These grooves act as base pair recognition and binding sites for proteins. The major groove contains base pair specific information, while the minor groove is largely base pair nonspecific. This is because of the patterns of hydrogen bond acceptors and donors that proteins can interact with in the grooves. In this way, the DNA can be acted upon in either a sequence-specific or non-sequence-specific manner, allowing proteins to position themselves correctly in the genome to carry out their designated tasks. This is the DNA double helix, and you've now learned the structural features that influence its function. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this amazing molecule with us.
So here you have seen that purine is combining with the pyrimidines and pyrimidine is combining with the purines.